Hello, 12 Bridges High School, and welcome back to this edition of CrashTalk Sports. I am your host, Matt Bunton. I am here with
Stevie Pagano
and Jayden Foster.
For the record, that was Jayden Foster who actually said Stevie Pagano, and everyone knows Thomas Larsen. Stevie Pagano is out sick today. We don't have a replacement for him, so we're just going to be one man short today. So yeah, on the agenda today, first and foremost, in fact, we're not even going to cover the other stuff until we're finished with this, so we're just not, I'm not even going to mention it. Super Bowl 59 Sunday, Eagles versus Chiefs, and I think it went very differently from most people thought. I mean, the Eagles were shutting the Chiefs out 24-0 going into halftime. Chiefs went up and scored 21 points before the end of the game, and not before the Philadelphia Eagles scored another, 16 points?
I think the NFL has finally realized and finally stopped giving stopped playing bad refs and started punishing the refs. That's what this league needs to do. If you can't just let the refs off the hook every single week when they're obviously making terrible calls in favor of one team or the other, and they finally called a fair game, especially in the Super Bowl, and they finally called a fair game and let them play, and the Eagles absolutely dominated the Chiefs. When the Chiefs don't have ref help, the Chiefs are like a bottom 10 team in the league.
I'm saying, with those, if they get those Chiefs or those refs every week of the NFL, they're going 8-10.
They're not even winning 8 games, dude.
8-10.
Yeah,
it's a 17-game season.
That's also impossible. Hands and options.
It's a 17-game season, Thomas.
Y'all get the point.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, I think that we can agree that overall, when it comes down to like stacked rosters, when it comes down to complete rosters, the ones that have all the best players, it realistically, I mean, this is honestly my take right here. But there's only 3 teams that you can say have the most complete rosters. It is the Philadelphia Eagles, who I would say are number 1 most complete rosters. I mean, you can't find a weakness. In fact, in the draft, the number 1 position we're addressing is most likely going to be edge rusher, who you saw we had, 7 sacks on Mahomes?
5 or 6. Yeah.
Mahomes was getting brutally assaulted.
And the other position of need is tackle. I mean, we have the best O-line in the league already, but that's a position of need. That is a clear placement of how complete the Eagles roster is right now. We don't need a position desperately at all. There's not a single one.
How are contracts looking? Anybody expiring? Anybody good expiring?
There's 3 major contracts that we need to get signed as soon as possible. It's Zach Bond, who you saw had a Defensive Player of the Year caliber season.
I'd let him walk, personally. He's getting old.
The guy's 28.
He's getting old.
You sign him
for a linebacker?
You sign him on a 3-year contract. That's what you do. I mean, you can see he's a higher caliber player than...
Isn't Fred Warner around that age?
Yeah, he's old.
Bobby Wagner, for example.
Fred Warner's the best linebacker in the league. You don't let him walk.
I mean, Bobby Wagner was up for comeback player of the year, I'd argue. He had a great year.
Bobby Wagner? How
he's
old
34.
Is he?
Didn't he lead the league in tackles?
Yeah, he had an amazing year. So I feel like Zach Bond, if we re-sign him on a 3-year deal, I'd be so happy about that. Josh Sweat also has a upcoming contract, but we're completely fine with that too.
He had a good game in the Super Bowl.
He had an amazing game. In fact, I'd argue Super Bowl MVP, but they gave it to Jalen Hurts.
And of course they did. He's the quarterback.
Yeah, but he did lead the team in sacks. He led the team in pressures, and it wasn't even close with pressures. The guy pressured. Actually, you know what? I'm just stating this fact right now. The Eagles blitzed 0 times during the game.
I was gonna say they had their drop back coverage was really good. They held Mahomes to 35 yards in the first half.
Yeah, 25 I think. They blitzed 0 times in the game, and yet they had 6 total sacks.
I will say, apart from the Buccaneers Chiefs Super Bowl, this might have been my very favorite Super Bowl to watch because the Chiefs got destroyed. Just watching the looks of defeat on the Chiefs fans, on Taylor Swift, on Travis Kelce, on everyone on the Chiefs. It was the greatest feeling I've ever felt. And I have to thank the Eagles for giving me that opportunity to see those scums of the NFL feel pain.
That's another thing. They did a really good job at shutting down Travis Kelce.
Travis Kelce is not that hard to guard, dude. He's old, he's slow, he's fat, can't guard. He's gonna retire, I think.
I'm just saying, I don't think he had a reception till the third quarter.
He did not. He went through the entire first half without a reception. The big part is this Chiefs team, clearly, because they've recently redone their receiver core, clearly. They had a bunch of different receivers then, trading a lot of them away, and now they're drafting. They're trying to get younger and faster, and they worked really well with that. Hollywood Brown, one of the fastest receivers in the NFL. Xavier Worthy broke the record for the 40-yard dash in the combine, 4.21. Still got to remember that. He was blazing speed. In fact, he was probably the best receiver that the Chiefs had throughout the entire night. Even Travis Kelce, he's been known to be a receiving tight end. He's not a blocking guy. He's clearly the guy that you try to throw the ball to. The entire team was based around the pass, and that's how they structured it. And the issue is, because of this, they couldn't get the run going at all. Like, they never got the run going. Pacheco had, 2 first downs, and Kareem Hunt couldn't do anything either.
I'm going to say this. Neither team really had a good game rushing. Saquon was not as big of a factor as I thought he was going to be. He had a few good runs, but other than that, he was kind of just picking up these little 2, 3, 4-yard runs. But
hey, who cares? They won, right?
Yeah.
They won the Super Bowl, man.
But last week I was saying that Saquon was going to be need to have a huge game for them to even have a chance. I could not have been more wrong about that.
We'll say the Chiefs defense did a pretty good job of containing him. A lot of people thought that Saquon would, like you did, would run all over them, 100-plus yards. Obviously, he didn't. A lot of
parlay thought the same thing, probably.
Yeah. But no, I didn't put no parlays in. I'm not. If I did, I would have probably lost all of them. I would have totally bet on the Chiefs to win. I totally would have. I totally thought it was going to be rigged.
For 250.
I'm gonna go because, I very go way too far in depth in most situations when watching this, but I'm gonna kind of psychoanalyze the game right now. And the thing is, it's the coaching styles. Nick Sirianni, he's been down on the past, because the way that he coaches is when something doesn't work, he switches everything and he abandons the game plan from before and starts just switching things completely up. And that's the way that he's played, because he, when the run doesn't work in the first half, what he does is he just immediately switches to passing, and he doesn't run the ball at all for the next half. That's just the way he coaches.
Wish Kyle Shanahan, maybe not to his extreme, but Kyle Shanahan lives and dies by his game plan, and it is it's his rise and it's going to be his eventual fall. And because even if it doesn't work, if he's running the football, his game plan is heavy run. If it doesn't work, he's just gonna keep doing it. It's his way or the highway. And that's one of the only things I don't like about Kyle Shanahan. His play calling is okay, but if it doesn't work, you gotta switch it up, and he just doesn't.
See, back to the Super Bowl coaches. The thing about Andy Reid is this guy, he's been in the league as a coach for a very long time. He's seen the way that play has evolved to an extent. He was the coach for the Eagles back in early 2000s. And the thing is, when his game plan doesn't work, instead of completely switching everything, what he does is he critiques what's not working about the game plan, and then he fixes it. Now, the issue with his way of coaching this game was that he wasn't able to fix anything because it was such an all-around team. He hasn't gone against a team that is this well-rounded in every single aspect of the football. So when he started running the football, right, it wasn't working because of the D-line. And so the other aspect of the game plan was let his receivers run. But the issue with that part of the game plan
was the D-line.
Was, number one, the D-line, but also we played 2 high safeties every single play. I'm pretty sure we played cover one time throughout the entire game.
We're putting 2 safeties on that whole time. That's so stupid. I would be so pressed if someone did that to me in Madden. I'd be so pressed.
I mean, it worked, though. It worked. I mean, in a high-stakes scenario of the Super Bowl, 2 high safeties against, the fastest receivers in the NFL, it works.
That's
and
smart.
It works exceptionally. And when our D-line was coming off that insanely good, where we were also hybriding in 3-4 plays over the 4-3, which we usually play, having Zach Bond come in on a blitz and then moving Josh Sweat out to coverage, very suddenly was also confusing the O-line on who to block. You saw the play where Zach Bond went straight through untouched because Josh Sweat moved out to coverage. I mean, it was the game plan. The game plan switched and it just didn't work with Andy Reid. On the contrary, when Nick Sirianni saw that the run wasn't working, he said, "Screw it, I'm passing it for the rest of the game." And it worked super well as well, because you know that Jalen Hurts, when he's under pressure, I mean, he gets the crap talk all season, but when he's under pressure, he's as good as any other quarterback in the playoffs.
He did throw that ugly interception though,
which arguably should have been defensive pass interference because he was restricting the ability for A.J. Brown to get back to the ball. But
maybe I don't think
it was uncatchable. Like, he was already like 3-4 yards past the ball.
To be fair, he was hit, by the way, on that throw.
I think the Chiefs were just too focused on Saquon, and even when they started just straight throwing with Jalen Hurts, they were still straight focused on Saquon because Saquon, right? He's running 100 yards on everyone, broke the record for the most rushing yards in a single season, including playoffs, not regular season, but, just overall with the playoffs. And, they're just too focused. They were too focused on him, and they did it. Their game plan against him worked, and it worked well. They didn't account for Jalen Hurts and his throwing ability because the past 10 weeks he's thrown for 130 yards or something.
And an unsung hero of the game, by the way, is the rushing ability of Jalen Hurts as well. Jalen Hurts ran for 73 yards, if I remember right. 73. That is not a small amount. That's more than Lamar's average. That's more than his own average. I mean, he ran incredibly throughout the game. He found the holes in the pocket and just ran with it. He did great as well with the designed runs. O-line did great with the designed runs as well. We actually we had an injured right guard who we were throwing in and out. It's Mekhi Becton. You should probably know the name Mekhi Becton. He was a tackle for the Jets, and he moved inside for us, and he's been doing amazing at the position.
Do you think Jalen Hurts is going to stop saying corny Instagram captions at press conferences now that he's finally won the Super Bowl?
Never. The guy didn't even cry. You saw him, bro. I mean, everyone else was out there bawling on the field, and
he was just
he literally was walking around. He smiled for a good few minutes, and then he went out onto the podium, and he just stood there, straight NBC style. But you know what? If it works, it works. That's all I got to say.
I need my Niners to bring home a Lombardi.
Your window is closing, man.
This is it. This is our. I say this every single season that this is it. This is our last chance, and then for whatever reason, we always get another chance on top of that.
You genuinely.
I think we should talk about the Sacramento Kings.
I don't want to talk about the Sacramento Kings.
I want to talk about the Sacramento Kings.
Oh God. Let's talk about the Spurs. Wembanyama and Fox dropped 30 each.
When the Spurs are top 10 in their conference, we can talk about it.
Spurs are better than the Kings, bro.
Stop.
Zach LaVine.
The Kings are sorry. Kings are not making
Can't
playoffs.
shoot all of a sudden.
Yeah.
He
really can't.
He went 1 for 6 last night in a kind of weird game. We played the Dallas Mavericks without Anthony Davis because he was out with his non-contact groin injury.
Without Anthony
Davis. You guys
Davis,
barely won, and they didn't have nobody.
They had Kyrie.
That's sorry. Kyrie.
And Daniel
How old
Gafford
is Kyrie?
injured.
How old is Kyrie?
33 or something like that.
No, old Kyrie.
Davis,
Y'all almost lost to an old Kyrie and then a bunch of nobody else's.
Kyrie's Kyrie still. I mean,
hey, they had Klay Thompson.
Klay Thompson, guys.
Who almost hit a game winner. He hit a 3 when they were down 2 with about 10 seconds left. But then Mr. Clutch, DeMar DeRozan, stepped through a double team, hit the floater that put us up 2 with 1.8 seconds left. And Spencer Dinwiddie came down and got a charge. Malik Monk drew a charge, and that was the game. Sealed it. So, kind of a disappointing performance, though, with them being injured and us having to fight for that one. But, hey, a win's a win on the stat sheet. There's no point in looking back. And we are one step closer to being a top 7 team in our conference. We're 1 game behind the Mavericks now, and now we have a doubleheader. Not doubleheader. We have back-to-back games against the Pelicans.
Overall, what's important is and this is the case with every sport, but you just got to remember that in the end, it's all the same on the stat sheet, right? Like, I mean, whether you win by like 100 points or if you win by 3 or 1 or whatever, who cares?
A win's a win.
A win's a win. It matters on the stat sheet. Now, is it going to come back to haunt us that we haven't been playing very good? Against even a bad Mavericks team? Surely.
Cooked.
I mean, you saw last year with the Philadelphia Eagles, we started playing badly at the end of the season, and then we get a wild card exit because the Bucks just absolutely manhandle us. We need to start playing better.
Baker.
Y'all lost to the Bucks and then came back the next year and win the Super Bowl. That's some dumb stuff. That's stupid.
Look.
It's not the same thing.
Anyway,
It's not like they lost in the first round of the playoffs.
Still
They lost they went to the Super Bowl
Like
and
you
lost.
said, a loss is a loss. A win's a win.
Not when it's the Super Bowl against a wild card game.
Regardless.
anyways,
It's not regardless.
something I do want to talk about before we head any further in is for the people that are listening, I want to announce that not this week, but this coming Monday, but the Monday after is our plans to have our very first Mock Draft Monday. So be sure to tune in for that. We'll be recording that sometime next week, and then you will all see our very first CrashTalk Sports one-round mock draft. Let's see. I will get a date on that real quick. I need to look up my calendar. It should
yesterday
be.
was the 9th, 10th. Yesterday was the 10th.
Today's the 11th.
So.
All right. So
the
our first mock draft
25th?
Monday will be on February 24th.
Day off.
Stay tuned, guys. January 24th.
So that one's going to be probably about a 30 to 40 minute show, which is a lot shorter than any of these ones are. I'm a lot longer. Sorry, my bad. But yeah, I mean, I'm excited for that. And you know I'm a draft guy. I mean, I love draft season. I love scouting out these like banger players, and we're just going to see how that goes. Speaking of draft, I'm just saying, I say we talk some draft talk real quick.
Okay.
We only have a few more minutes left of the show, so let's do it. We're gonna shout out some of our favorite players that are climbing. I'm gonna say let's do players that we think are climbing up the draft board. So like players that were second rounders that could end up being first rounders now. Jayden, if you say Jackson Dart for the third freaking show in a row, I'm going to kick you off the show.
Jackson Dart. Y'all don't know about Jackson Dart.
Y'all don't know about Jackson Dart. Yes, we do. I'm actually, honestly, I used to like him more than I do now. Like, I'm thinking that Jackson Dart is like falling on my board a little bit.
You're doing that just because I think he's gonna be good.
Anyways, have I already mentioned Nick Emanwari?
Who?
Nick Emanwari,
Cares?
the safety. Get off my show. I'm muting your mic for the rest of it.
I'll start us off. I got Derek Harmon, a D tackle from Oregon.
Love it.
He recorded 45 total tackles, 5 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, 2 fumble recoveries, 2 passes deflected, and 39 QB hurries in the 2024 season. A force in the run game, exceptional pass rusher. He's a big physical, likes to get his hands dirty. You know, he's a big physical, strong guy. I've heard some NFL comp to Chris Jones. He's scheme versatile, which basically is good for whatever team he lands, so he can adapt and thrive in any situation. Only downsides is that he carries a lot of weight. He is a top-heavy frame, and with that can get caught behind lateral blocks. He's not agile, which means he has to rely on kind of his strength and bull rushing abilities. So
Mine, a wide receiver out of Louisville, Ja'Cory Brooks. Have him graded as an early 4th round pick. He weighs 190. He's 6 feet. I think 6 feet 1 inch if I'm correct. He's a former 5-star recruit. transferred from Alabama to Louisville for his senior year after modest production in his first 3 seasons. Brooks has emerged as a big play machine and leads the FBS in receptions of 20 or more yards through week 9. He's a deep threat. Probably going to go to the Chiefs if he goes anywhere. I think his best fit's probably the Chiefs. Deep threat, fast, electric, can make some spectacular catches. He does have drop issues a little bit, but not like Kadarius Toney. They've dealt with drop issues, but yeah he's a.
Saw it with D-Hop actually during
I was
the
gonna
game.
say.
Yeah, D-Hop did not want to win his ring for surely.
All right, my guy is Nick. Oh my gosh, Nick Emanwari out of good old South Carolina. He is a safety. He is very capable of playing the strong side. You love to see that.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy runs in the early 4.3s. I believe he ran a 4.32 at his last college day.
That's fast.
Yeah, blazing speed. He can cover the whole field, and he is big. He is 6'3", 227.
It's a DK Metcalf.
For real. I mean, and yeah, this guy plays safety. He just runs around the entire field at blazing speeds. He can make the tackles as well. And when it comes down to coverage, the man is insane. He has some of the best footwork.
6'3" is not that tall.
No, I mean like with the speed though. He runs a 4.32 at.
Well, yeah, he's only 6'3". He's
6'3".
not that big.
Well, but he's still good
He's only
size.
2 inches taller than me. Not even 2 inches, like an inch taller than me.
So he's about the average, a little bit above average for the height of a safety in the NFL, but he runs way faster than the average. The average is like a 4.4. The guy has blazing speed. He can cover the whole field. I think he'll weigh in bigger as well at the combine than
anybody can play safety. They had Gronk out there. I mean, it didn't work, but they still had Gronk out there playing safety.
And he is super hard to mismatch because of this height. Like, if you were to man him up on a tight end, he can handle it. It's not going to be a mismatch.
You know what else they have Gronk doing?
All right. Anyways, I'm just going to shout out this guy really quick. Jalen Reed from Penn State. He plays safety as well. In the 2024 season, he had 98 tackles, 3 PBUs, 2.5 sacks, a forced fumble, 3 interceptions, and taking one of them back for a touchdown. His upsides, he's a big safety. He plays more a strong safety side. He has great run support, described as someone who does all the dirty work, but his only downside is that at times he has shown signs of just being lost and being unaware in big moments of where he needs to be, which for a strong safety in big moments can be bad. So if you're, supposed to be dropping back in coverage and you end up pressing or man coverage, that can result in big plays, which he actually did pretty well in the playoffs of trying to fix his mistakes, but one too many of those can drop you in the draft boards. But
All right.
That's about all we have time for, folks. I'm your host, Matt Bunton.
Jayden did it for me. That's all we have time for today, folks. This has been your host, Matt Bunton on CrashTalk Sports, and thank you guys for coming out to record with me today.
This has been Jayden Foster.
And your boy T.I. Groovy, a.k.a. Thomas Larsen. You heard me?
And Matt Bunton signing off. Go Bears.